After officially adding Al Horford, Shams has reported that DeAnthony Melton and Gary Payton II have committed to signing deals to return to Golden State. The Dubs have also signed 4-year product of Belmont and Florida and 56th overall pick in 2025's draft Will Richard to a 4-year deal. The team also signed Phoenix's 52nd overall pick Alex Tuhey to a 2-way contract, and given it's a 2-way, even assuming the Warriors sign Kuminga, there would still be one roster spot open, which could potentially go to Curry's brother Seth. According to reports, the Seth Curry signing, or just how the Warriors fill their 15th roster spot, will be dependent on how the Kuminga situation's resolved. Paying Kuminga too much would mean using up the space it would require to sign Seth or someone else. With all of that said, I want to talk about the Warriors' newest additions, and firstly, the re-addition of DeAnthony Melton, secondly, the newcomer in Will Richard, and last but not least, the re-signing of the young glove Gary Payton II. The Warriors had the number 1 defensive rating post-All-Star break in 2025. Getting back someone who wasn't here for that, but who's considered one of the team's and league's most pesky backcourt and wing defenders, DeAnthony Melton, makes Golden State's defense that much more intimidating. Melton made his name in Memphis as a high-motor, switch-friendly guard who could guard 1 through 3, and then honed his three-point shooting to become a true two-way threat in Philadelphia. Early in his career, he was mostly a defensive energy guy, but by his final 2 seasons with the Sixers, he had become a starter-caliber piece who could knock down 37 to 38% of his threes on good volume, space the floor, and still chase the opponent's best perimeter scorer. In 2023-24, he averaged 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and nearly 2 steals a night, numbers that translate perfectly to the Dubs system. His advanced metrics are even better. Philadelphia's net rating swung by double digits when he was on the floor versus off it, and his steal rate has ranked among the top 10 guards in the league in multiple seasons. His ability to push the ball in transition, make the hit-ahead pass, and hit trailing threes, as we saw last year, fits Golden State's fast pace, and his willingness to take the tough defensive assignment every night gives Steve Kerr more options in closing lineups. He's also entering his prime, so despite his latest ACL injury, the Warriors are getting a player whose best years may still be ahead. Depth in the backcourt has been an issue for Golden State during the regular season grind, and Melton's durability, he's played 70-plus games in multiple seasons despite a rugged style, gives them reliability as well as skill. In a playoff setting, he can either start or anchor bench units, essentially giving the Warriors a Swiss Army knife guard they didn't have last year. Will Richard is the prototypical Warriors find, who checks every box for their developmental pipeline. He spent a season at Belmont before transferring to Florida and taking on a bigger scoring and defensive load, showing that he could produce in 2 different offensive systems. Richard stands at 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan and a sturdy frame, traits that make him a natural fit for a 3-and-D role, but he also flashed some secondary playmaking with an assist rate near 15% in college. He's a high-character player known for his work ethic. He reportedly never missed a voluntary practice session in college, and for being a willing passer out of the drive, which matters in Kerr's read-and-react offense. Those traits could make him a long-term rotation piece once he adjusts to the NBA's pace and physicality. On a 4-year deal, the Warriors will have the time and coaching to develop his handle, off-ball cutting, and decision-making, skills that thrive next to Stephen Curry's gravity. With Golden State's veteran core aging, Richard gives them a cheap, controllable wing who can soak up minutes and potentially grow into a starring role down the line, the same way Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole emerged from lower-profile beginnings. Gary Payton II's return is maybe the most familiar move, but no less important for a team built on defense. The young glove built his reputation by hounding opposing ball handlers 94 feet, getting deflections, sneaking behind bigs for steals, and then finishing at the rim with explosive dunks despite being a 6'3" guard. In the 2022 championship run, he was instrumental in swinging series with his point-of-attack defense against Ja Morant and Jalen Brunson, often changing the flow of games without even taking shots. He has consistently posted some of the best defensive metrics on the roster when he's on the floor, and lineups with he, Draymond, and Steph have historically forced turnovers at elite rates and outscored opponents by double digits per 100 possessions. Over the past 2 seasons, he's worked on his corner 3, lifting his percentage into the mid-30s to keep defenses honest, and in 2023-24, he posted his highest effective field goal percentage yet. He's also an underrated cutter and screener, traits the Warriors' motion offense values because it springs Curry and others free. Payton's chemistry with Kerr's system and the veteran leaders in the locker room make his re-signing a stabilizing move in a season where the rotation will be in flux. With his minutes managed correctly to keep him healthy, he can once again be the spark plug that flips momentum in playoff games and a safety blanket for Kerr when the defense needs to tighten. When you zoom out, these three additions represent a clear plan by Golden State's front office rather than a random grab of big names. They've doubled down on defensive versatility and perimeter depth, two areas that win in the modern NBA and allow Kerr to mix and match lineups without sacrificing spacing or playmaking. Melton gives them a bigger, longer version of the two-way guard role they lost when Dante DiVincenzo left and when Gary Payton missed chunks of time. Richard gives them a cheap, moldable wing who can shoot and defend and can be stashed in Santa Cruz if needed to refine his game without burning NBA minutes. Payton gives them an already proven postseason defender with championship chemistry who can also serve as a mentor for Richard. Combine that with Horford's arrival and the potential signing of Seth Curry, and the Warriors have surrounded their star trio with exactly the kind of players who can extend their championship window. The open roster spot and the uncertainty around Kuminga's extension mean there's still flexibility to add more shooting or size if needed, but the spine of the roster is now more balanced than it was a year ago. Even beyond the X's and O's, each of these players adds a different kind of hunger and storyline to the team that can fuel a deep run. Melton is trying to prove he can be a key piece on a title team after bouncing between Memphis and Philadelphia and getting labeled as just a role player. Richard is a late second-round pick with the chance to crack a rotation immediately, a path similar to a late pick like Jordan Poole, who earned his stripes in Golden State's system and turned himself into a 20-point scorer. Payton has already tasted a championship but missed time with injuries and will be eager to reestablish himself as the league's premier perimeter pest, motivated by what he lost last season. That mix of experience, upside, and motivation can be the difference between a contender and a champion, especially on a team that's already proved it can develop and maximize these archetypes. The Warriors look like they're reloading with a purpose and surrounding their big three with players who are not only fit, but are driven to prove something. And finally, by blending proven defenders like Melton and Payton with a high upside rookie like Richard, Golden State is signaling to the league that it's not done chasing banners. This isn't just a patch job for one more run. It's a roster that can compete now and morph into something new as Curry, Green, and Butler age. If these pieces hit, the Warriors will have built another wave of depth similar to their 2014 to 2018 and 2021 to 2022 benches. Wings and guards who defend, move the ball, and knock down open shots. That continuity and foresight could be what keeps Golden State relevant well into the back half of the decade.